Welcome to 10 Rules to Transform Your Life in 2025. If you're looking to make real changes this year, whether it's in your health, relationships, finances, or personal growth, you've come to the right place. Today we'll dive into 10 practical and powerful rules inspired by Rohn's timeless wisdom. These aren't just ideas to think about, they're steps you can take right now to start creating the life you've always wanted. This isn't about quick fixes or unrealistic promises. It's about learning principles that actually work, principles that will help you grow stronger, make smarter choices, and build a future you can be proud of. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to start, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to transform your mindset, your habits, and your results. It's your time to rise and take control of 2025. Let's get started. Number 1. The power of keeping your plans to yourself. You know, in life, one of the most important things you can do for yourself is keep your plans to yourself, especially in the early stages. We live in a world where people are constantly talking about what they're going to do, about their big ideas, their grand plans, but here's the thing, sharing your plans too soon can actually hurt you. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of your idea. You feel passionate about it, and naturally you want to tell people. You want to share it. But when you do that, you're giving away energy that should be reserved for the work itself. People start to react, giving you their opinions and their feedback. Sometimes it's positive, but often it's not. And even if they don't say anything negative out loud, the doubts they feel about your plan can creep into your mind. Let me tell you something, when you share your plans with the wrong people at the wrong time, you're exposing yourself to their skepticism, their doubts, and their fears. They may not believe in you the way you believe in yourself. And suddenly that dream you had, that spark you felt inside, it starts to fade a little bit. You start second-guessing yourself. You start wondering, maybe they're right. Maybe this isn't such a great idea after all. But here's the truth, your dreams, your goals, they're yours for a reason. They're meant to be nurtured, protected, and worked on in private. If you don't give them the time and space to grow, if you don't give them the attention they need, they'll never get off the ground. Success takes time, patience, and focus. And the more you talk about your plans, the less time and energy you have to actually make them happen. Think about it. How many times have you told someone about an idea or a goal, and before you knew it, the enthusiasm you had for it started to slip away? That excitement you felt when you first had the idea, it starts to die down. The energy that should have been used to take action is now used up in conversations that don't move you forward. It's a strange thing, but it happens. You tell someone, I'm going to start this business, and they nod and smile, maybe even offer some advice. But now the idea is out there. You've already had your little moment of approval. You've already gotten that emotional payoff of being heard. And that, my friend, can kill the drive to do the real work that's required to make it happen. You start thinking, well, I've already told everyone about it, so it's almost like I've done it. But that's not how success works. You don't get credit for talking about something, you get credit for doing it. So what do? You work in silence, you focus on your actions and let the results speak for themselves. There's no need to announce every little move you're going to make. You don't need to get people's validation or approval. What you need is to put in the work. Take one step after another, even when no one is watching. Keep your head down and keep moving forward. I've seen people do this, and I've done it myself. When you focus on the work and don't worry about what others think, something amazing happens. You build momentum, you build discipline. And the results, they start to show up. And when you're ready to share your progress, when the time is right and your work is done, people will be amazed. They'll look at what you've accomplished and they'll say, how did you do that? And that's when you can proudly share your journey, because you'll know that your actions are what made it happen, not the words. Now, I'm not saying you should never share your plans with anyone. There's a time and a place for that. But here's the key: share your plans only with the right people at the right time. Don't go telling everyone about your idea before it's had the chance to grow. Just protect it. Guard it. Take the time to work on it and make sure it's solid before you start opening it up to the world. And even when you do share it, make sure you're sharing it with people who will help you grow, who will encourage you, who will lift you up. Be careful about the people you talk to. Some people will drain your energy without even realizing it. They'll question your idea, tell you it's too risky, or point out all the reasons why it won't work. And if you're not careful, that negativity will start to affect you. You'll start to doubt yourself, and that's the last thing you want. Instead, find people who believe in you, who want to see you succeed, and who understand that the real work is done in silence. These are the people who will support you, not because they're looking for credit, but because they know what it takes to build something meaningful. I've learned this lesson the hard way. I've had ideas I was so excited about, but the more I talked about them, the less energy I had to actually do anything about them. It was like I was giving away all my excitement in conversations, and by the time I was done talking, I was drained. I had nothing left to give to the actual work. But when I learned to keep my plans to myself, to focus on the work and not the approval, that's when everything changed. I started getting results. And the results spoke for themselves. People started noticing. Not because I told them what I was going to do, but because they saw what I had already done. And let me tell you, that's a powerful feeling. When your work stands on its own, when your results speak louder than words, you know you're on the right path. You know you're doing the work that matters. So remember this: keep your plans to yourself. Don't share your dreams with just anyone. Protect them, nurture them, and let them grow. Focus on the work, not the talk. And when the time is right, let your results speak for you. Keep moving forward. Keep taking action. And when you've made it, people will see it. You won't have to say a word. Your work will do all the talking. That's the way to success. That's the way to make your dreams a reality. Number 2, the pitfalls of sharing too early. You've probably been there before. You have an idea, a new project, or something you're really passionate about. The excitement is building up inside you, and the first thing you want to do is share it with everyone around you. You can't wait to tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, anyone who will listen. But here's the thing: sharing too early can actually hurt you more than help you. When you share your ideas too soon, you're opening yourself up to too many opinions, too many distractions. You're giving other people the chance to weigh in before you've even had a chance to test your idea out yourself. And what happens when you do that? Well, sometimes people don't see your vision the way you do. They don't understand the work you've put into it or the passion you feel about it. They might even tell you it's not a good idea or that it's too risky. And suddenly that excitement you had about your idea, it starts to fade a little bit. You see, when you share too early, you're giving away something that's still fragile. It's like planting a seed and then showing it to everyone before it has a chance to grow strong roots. You might get a lot of attention at first, but eventually the idea will get buried under everyone's opinions. People don't always mean to be negative, but when you put yourself out there too soon, you make yourself vulnerable to criticism, doubt, and discouragement. And that can be dangerous, especially if you haven't built up the confidence to handle it yet. Now, don't get me wrong. Feedback is important. Listening to people who know more than you can help you improve and grow. But there's a right time for feedback and there's a wrong time. If you share your idea too early, you're giving away control of it before you even know if it's worth anything. Instead of focusing on building and improving it, you'll be too busy responding to everyone else's thoughts and concerns. And that's not how you get things done. One of the dangers of sharing too early is that it creates a false sense of progress. Think about it: when you talk about your idea, you get that emotional satisfaction of having shared it. You feel like you've accomplished something just by telling people. But the truth is, talking about your idea isn't the same as doing the work. You haven't put in the effort yet. You haven't tested it or worked through the challenges that are going to come up. And when you tell people about it, you rob yourself of the chance to really dive in and get your hands dirty. The more you talk about your plans without taking action, the more likely you are to get stuck in that cycle of talking and not doing. You get caught up in telling people what you're going to do instead of actually doing it. You get caught up in their excitement, their approval, and before you know it, the real work gets pushed aside. The enthusiasm you felt in the beginning starts to wear off because you've already talked about it so much that it doesn't feel as fresh anymore. And that's when ideas start to die. So what do? Keep your plans to yourself until they're ready to be shared. When you're in the early stages, keep things quiet. Focus on building, learning, and improving. Work through the challenges that come up and figure out if your idea really has legs. Don't waste time sharing something that's still in its infancy. Instead, give it the space it needs to grow and develop. When you work on something in private, it's easier to stay focused. You're not constantly thinking about what other people think or how they're going to react. You don't have to worry about whether they'll approve of your idea or whether they'll tell you it's not going to work. You just work. You take one step at a time. And as you do, you get stronger, smarter, and more confident in your idea. And let me tell you something, when you're ready to share it with the world, when you've put in the work and you've got something solid to show for it, people will be amazed. They won't be able to ignore the results. They won't be able to question your dedication or your passion, because the work will speak for itself. There's a lot of power in working in silence. When you don't talk about your plans too early, you get to protect the energy and focus you need to make it happen. You don't have to worry about explaining yourself to anyone. You can just get to work. And when you finally do share your progress, you'll be able to show them what you've been doing. They won't just hear about your idea, they'll see the results you've created. This is a big part of how successful people work. They don't talk about their plans until they've tested them, refined them, and put in the hard work. They let their actions do the talking. And by the time they share their results, they've already built something real. Something that can't be easily dismissed. They don't need approval or validation from others because their work speaks for itself. Another thing to keep in mind is that sharing too early can also distract you from your true purpose. When you tell people what you're doing, they'll start asking questions. They'll want to know how it's going, what the next steps are, or what your plans are for the future. And while it's nice to have people interested, all those questions can pull your attention away from the work. You start thinking more about how to answer them or explain your progress than about actually doing the work that needs to be done. In fact, sometimes it's better to keep your plans to yourself to avoid getting distracted by other people's opinions. Don't waste energy on unnecessary conversations when you could be using that energy to move your project forward. If your idea is still in the early stages, you're still figuring things out. There's no need to rush the process or get sidetracked by people who don't have all the facts. It's also important to note that the more you talk about your plans, the more people will expect results from you. They'll be watching, waiting, and asking about it. And if you don't deliver, you risk disappointing them. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself when you're still in the early stages. It's better to work behind the scenes, quietly making progress, than to let people's expectations weigh you down. The best thing you can do is stay focused. Keep your plans to yourself until the right time, and put in the work. When you've got something to show, when your idea is ready to be shared, that's when you step up and show the world what you've been working on. And when you do, the results will speak for themselves. So remember, don't rush into sharing your plans before they're ready. Protect them. Guard them. Take the time you need to really build them up. When the time is right and you've done the work, the world will be ready to see what you've created, and they won't be able to deny it. You'll have earned the right to share it, and you'll be ready to handle whatever comes next. Number 3, how talking about plans can cause distractions. When you get excited about something, it's natural to want to talk about it. You want to share your dreams, your goals, your big plans with everyone. But here's something you need to understand: talking about your plans can actually distract you from the most important part of the process, getting the work done. Think about it. The more you talk about your plans, the more energy you're giving to talking rather than doing. Talking about your ideas feels good in the moment. It feels like progress, like you're moving forward. But the reality is, you're not really getting anything done when you're just talking. You're only building up the excitement without actually building anything solid. When you talk about your plans too much, you're also letting other people into your process. And while it might seem harmless, it can actually take you off course. People will start asking questions. They'll offer their opinions. Some of them might be supportive, but others may not be as encouraging. And suddenly your focus is divided. Instead of putting all your energy into your work, you're spending your time explaining and defending your plans to others. That's energy that could be spent taking action. Now, don't get me wrong. It's good to have people in your life who can offer feedback and advice. But early in the process, it's better to stay focused on the work. Why? Because no one else knows your vision the way you do. No one else feels the same passion for your idea. And while their input can be helpful down the line, at the beginning, it can be more of a distraction than anything else. When you talk about your plans, you're inviting the risk of distraction. People will ask, how's it going and what's next? And even if they're not trying to be negative, these questions can pull your focus away from the work at hand. You start thinking about how to explain your progress, what you've done, and what you still need to do. Instead of pushing forward, you find yourself explaining why things are taking longer than you thought, or why you haven't made as much progress as you wanted. The more you talk, the less time you have to actually do the work. Talking about your plans doesn't move you any closer to your goals. It's easy to feel like you're making progress by telling people what you're going to do. But when the talking is over, you still have to put in the work to make it happen. And if you've spent too much time talking, you might find that you've wasted time that could have been spent making real progress. Another thing to consider is that talking too much about your plans can create a false sense of accomplishment. When you share your goals with others, you often get a positive reaction. People get excited for you, they encourage you, and that can feel good. But the danger is, you might start to feel like you've already achieved something simply because you've talked about it. But talking doesn't get results. It's the action that creates results. Here's another thing: the more you talk about your plans, the more likely you are to get caught up in other people's opinions. People are going to have their own ideas about what you should be doing, how you should be doing it, and how fast you should be moving. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself following someone else's path instead of your own. The advice and feedback may be well-meaning, but if you're not careful, it can take you off track. In addition to that, talking too much can also make your goals feel less important. The more you talk about something, the less mysterious it becomes. It's almost like you've already told the world your secrets. The thrill of the challenge starts to wear off because you've already shared your idea with everyone, and they've given you feedback. What's left to work toward? The excitement of doing something new and difficult can fade when you've already told people about it. Now, it's just something you've got to follow through on. The other side of this is that when you talk too much, you open yourself up to criticism. People might not believe in your idea. They might tell you it's not going to work. They might even try to talk you out of it. If you're not careful, their doubts can start to creep into your mind and take away your confidence. The last thing you want when you're starting something new is to hear negative feedback before you've even given it a chance to develop. It can stop you before you even get started. It's also important to recognize that when you talk too much, you're spreading yourself too thin. You've got limited time and energy. If you spend all your time talking about what you're going to do, you don't have enough left to actually do it. The talking feels like action, but it's not. The real action is in doing the work, in moving forward step by step. And that's where you need to put your focus. Another issue with talking about your plans too early is that it can create unnecessary pressure. When you start telling people what you're going to do, they start expecting results. They're watching to see if you'll follow through. And while accountability can be a good thing, it can also add pressure that you don't need. If you're still in the planning stages, if you're still figuring things out, the last thing you want is the weight of everyone else's expectations on your shoulders. Now, let me give you a piece of advice. Keep your plans to yourself until they're ready to be shared. Don't waste energy explaining yourself. Don't let other people's doubts, questions, or advice distract you from what you need to do. Stay focused on the work. When you're deep in the process, when you've already put in the time and the effort, then it's time to share your progress. But by that point, you'll be so confident in what you're doing that nothing will be able to shake you. People will respect your work, not your words. You don't need to tell everyone what you're planning to do. You just need to do it. And when the time comes to share, when you've already made progress and have something to show for your efforts, people will see the results. They won't be distracted by the talk, they'll be impressed by the action. And that's the way it should be. So next time you feel that urge to talk about your plans, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this really helping me move forward? Is this bringing me closer to my goal? Or is it just a way to feel good without doing the real work? Instead of talking about what you're going to do, focus on doing it. Keep your plans quiet, protect your energy, and stay focused on the process. When you've put in the work, the results will speak for themselves. And that's when you'll know you've done it right. Number 4, protect your focus. In today's world, it's so easy to get distracted. Everywhere you look, there's something calling for your attention: social media notifications, emails, text messages, phone calls, news updates. The list goes on and on. But here's something that can make or break your success protecting your focus. Focus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But the more you let distractions pull you away, the weaker your focus becomes. You see, the ability to focus is one of the most important skills you can develop, and it's the key to getting anything done. If you want to achieve something significant in your life, you need to understand how to protect your focus and give it the attention it deserves. Let's talk about what happens when you lose focus. It's easy to think that a quick check of your phone won't hurt, or just answering a couple of emails will only take a minute. But the truth is, it's never just a minute. Every time you get distracted, it takes longer than you think to get back into your flow. You lose momentum. You lose time. And the more often this happens, the harder it becomes to get things done. Your mind starts jumping from one thing to the next, and before you know it, the day is over and you've accomplished very little. This is why it's so important to protect your focus. You need to block out the distractions and create an environment where you can concentrate on the task at hand. It's about setting boundaries both with yourself and with the world around you. You need to be intentional about where you direct your attention. One of the first things you can do to protect your focus is to identify your biggest distractions. Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's social media, maybe it's the TV, whatever it is, you need to be honest with yourself about what pulls you away from your goals. And once you know your distractions, it's time to create a plan for how to handle them. For example, when you sit down to work, make it a rule that you're going to leave your phone in another room or turn off notifications. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary if you want to stay focused. You might have to make some tough choices, like setting boundaries with friends and family or telling people that you need time to focus. But these are the things that will help you protect your focus and give you the space you need to get things done. Another important thing is to stop multitasking. You've probably heard people say that they can do several things at once, but the reality is multitasking doesn't work. When you try to juggle multiple tasks at the same time, your attention gets split, and you can't give your full effort to any of them. This results in lower quality work and longer hours spent trying to finish everything. Instead, focus on one task at a time. Give it your full attention and do it well. Once it's done, then move on to the next thing. Another way to protect your focus is to create a structured routine. When you have a clear plan for your day, it's easier to stay on track and avoid distractions. Set specific times for when you'll work, when you'll take breaks, and when you'll handle other responsibilities. This structure helps you stay disciplined and ensures that you're not wasting time on things that don't matter. A routine also helps you get into the right mindset before you start working, so you can be more productive when you sit down. Now, let's talk about the importance of taking care of your mind and body. You might think that protecting your focus is all about discipline, but it's also about making sure that you're in the right condition to focus. If you're tired, hungry, or stressed, your ability to concentrate will be limited. That's why it's important to get enough rest, eat healthy, and take time to recharge. When you're physically and mentally refreshed, it's much easier to stay focused on the task at hand. It's also crucial to understand the power of saying no. There will always be opportunities, requests, and distractions pulling at your attention. And while it's tempting to say yes to everything, it's important to recognize that every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to your focus. Saying no is a powerful way to protect your time and energy. It's about being intentional with where you put your attention. One of the biggest threats to your focus is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. You see other people doing things, achieving things, and you feel like you're falling behind. But the truth is, FOMO is one of the biggest distractions there is. Instead of focusing on what everyone else is doing, you need to focus on your own journey. You need to trust the process and recognize that your success is going to look different from someone else's. Don't let the noise of the world pull you off course. Stay focused on what matters to you. At the end of the day, protecting your focus comes down to making a choice. Every day you get to decide where you'll direct your attention. Will you let distractions pull you away from your goals? Or will you make the conscious decision to stay focused and take action? The more you protect your focus, the more productive you'll become, and the closer you'll get to achieving what you truly want. So here's what I want you to do. Start today. Identify the distractions that are keeping you from focusing and make a plan to eliminate them. Set boundaries with yourself and with others. Create a routine that helps you stay on track. And remember, focus is a skill that gets stronger the more you practice it. The more you protect your focus, the more you'll accomplish. And when you look back, you'll see that protecting your focus was one of the best decisions you ever made. Number 5, the risk of other people's doubts. When you start chasing your dreams, making big decisions, or going after something that's important to you, you'll quickly realize that not everyone will be supportive. In fact, one of the biggest challenges you'll face is dealing with other people's doubts. And let me tell you, that's not easy. It can be tough to keep moving forward when the people around you, whether they're friends, family, or coworkers, start questioning your choices, your goals, and your ability to succeed. But here's the thing, other people's doubts are not your problem, they're theirs. And it's important to understand how to protect yourself from letting their doubts hold you back. First, you have to realize that everyone has their own perspective, their own fears, and their own limitations. When someone doubts your ability to succeed, it's usually not because they don't believe in you, it's because they don't believe in themselves. They're projecting their own insecurities and fears onto you. You see, most people are comfortable staying in their comfort zone. When you step outside of that zone and take a risk, it challenges their own way of thinking. It reminds them of the dreams they've put off or the things they wish they had done but didn't. So rather than support you, they may doubt your ability to succeed because it forces them to confront their own regrets. But here's the truth, their doubts don't define your ability to succeed. Their doubts don't shape your future. Only you have that power. The opinions and doubts of others can be noisy and distracting, but they don't have to control your actions. What you need to remember is that your goals, your dreams, and your journey are yours and yours alone. People might not understand your vision, and that's okay. You don't need anyone else's approval to go after what you want in life. It's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others. We all want to be liked and accepted, and it feels good when people support our decisions. But the truth is, you're never going to please everyone. If you try to please everyone, you'll end up pleasing no one, not even yourself. You'll never live up to your full potential if you're constantly worried about what others think. People will doubt you. They'll question your choices. But that's part of the process. You have to be willing to take risks, step out of your comfort zone, and move forward with confidence, even when no one else believes in you. You can't let other people's doubts stop you from pursuing your dreams. In fact, the more people doubt you, the more it should fuel your fire. Use their doubt as motivation to prove them wrong, not because you need their approval, but because you need to show yourself that you have what it takes to succeed, regardless of what others think. Think about it this way: some of the most successful people in the world faced the most doubt. They were told they couldn't do it, that they were crazy for trying, or that they weren't good enough. But they didn't listen to the doubters. They didn't let the negativity of others stop them. They kept moving forward despite the doubts, despite the criticism, and despite the challenges. And because they kept going, they achieved things that most people thought were impossible. So what do you do when someone doubts you? First, you need to stay focused on your own vision. Don't let someone else's fear or negativity cloud your judgment. Trust in your own ability to succeed and stay committed to your goals. Your path might be different from theirs, and that's okay. Your journey is unique, and it's important to remember that what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Just because someone else doesn't believe in your dreams doesn't mean you shouldn't. Second, don't let their doubts change the way you see yourself. People often project their own limitations onto you. They'll tell you things like, "That's too risky," or "You'll never make it," but that's their perception, not the truth. The truth is that you are capable of achieving great things, and you have the ability to overcome any obstacle that comes your way. Don't let their doubts make you question your own abilities. Believe in yourself and your potential. It's also important to remember that you don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're pursuing your dreams. You don't need to justify your decisions or ask for permission. When you feel the need to defend yourself or explain your actions, it's usually because you're trying to get approval or validation from others. But the only person you need validation from is yourself. You know your goals, your purpose, and what drives you. Don't waste your energy trying to get others to understand. Focus on your own path. And finally, be careful about who you listen to. Not everyone's opinion is worth hearing. Some people might genuinely want to help, but others might just be projecting their own doubts and fears. It's important to surround yourself with people who lift you up, who believe in your potential, and who encourage you to keep going even when things get tough. But remember, at the end of the day, the only opinion that really matters is your own. The risk of other people's doubts is real, but you don't have to let it hold you back. Don't let the negativity of others keep you from pursuing your dreams. Stay focused on your goals, trust in your abilities, and keep moving forward, no matter what. The only way to prove the doubters wrong is to show them, through your actions, that you are capable of achieving great things. Don't let their doubts define your future. You have the power to create your own success, and nothing at all should stop you from going after it. Number 6. You don't need validation to succeed. When you're on the path to success, there's a natural temptation to seek validation from others. We all want approval, reassurance, and recognition. It feels good when people tell us we're doing great or that our ideas are solid. But here's something really important you need to understand: you don't need validation to succeed. The truth is, waiting for other people's approval is one of the biggest obstacles you can place in your own way. It can hold you back, slow you down, and keep you from reaching your full potential. Now, let me tell you something. You already have what it takes to succeed inside you. The strength, the skills, the mindset, all of it is already there. The only thing that's missing is the belief in yourself to move forward without constantly needing someone else to tell you that you're on the right track. If you're waiting for others to give you the green light before you make a move, you'll be waiting forever. Success isn't about seeking validation, it's about taking action, trusting yourself, and believing that you are worthy of achieving great things, even when no one else sees it yet. The first thing you need to realize is that validation is temporary. It's like a quick fix that feels good in the moment, but it doesn't last. Once you get that pat on the back or that compliment, it fades and you're left needing more. You get stuck in this cycle of looking for more praise, more attention, and more approval. But the truth is, no amount of validation from others is going to fill you up or get you any closer to your goals. It's a distraction. It takes your focus off the work and puts it on seeking external approval. And that's not how success works. Success is built on belief in yourself. It's about understanding that you are capable, worthy, and enough without needing anyone to tell you that. It's about knowing deep down that you have a vision, a goal, and the ability to make it happen. The people around you may or may not see your vision. They may or may not believe in you. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you believe in yourself. You need to be the one who says, I can do this even when no one else does. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Did they wait for permission to go after their dreams? Did they sit around waiting for someone to tell them they were good enough? No, they went for it, even when others doubted them. They took action, made mistakes, learned along the way, and kept moving forward, all while staying true to their vision. They didn't wait for validation, they created their own success by trusting in their abilities and their potential. When you stop waiting for validation, you free yourself to take risks. You stop holding back because of fear of judgment or criticism. You stop second-guessing yourself and worrying about what other people think. And that's when you start seeing real progress. When you're focused on your goals and not on pleasing others, that's when you start doing the work that really matters. You start making decisions based on your own beliefs, not someone else's opinion. You stop letting fear of failure or fear of what others will think hold you back. Another reason why you don't need validation to succeed is because it keeps you in a place of control. If you rely on others for approval, then you're letting them control your success. You're handing over your power to someone else. But when you trust yourself, when you stop waiting for someone else's approval, you take back that power. You control your journey. You get to decide what success looks like for you. Think about how powerful that is. You are in charge. You make the decisions. And when you make decisions from a place of self-belief, that's when you start attracting the right opportunities and people into your life. You stop wasting time seeking validation from those who may never see your potential. You start focusing on what really matters, doing the work, learning, growing, and taking action, regardless of what others think. And let me tell you something important: the more you rely on others for validation, the less confident you become in yourself. Every time you look to someone else for approval, you weaken your own belief in your abilities. You start second-guessing yourself. But when you stop seeking validation, you become more self-assured. You trust your own judgment and instincts. You start making decisions that align with your vision, not someone else's opinion. When you're going after your goals, there will always be people who won't understand. Some will doubt your ability to succeed. Some will criticize your ideas. Some will tell you it can't be done. If you listen to them, you'll never get anywhere. You have to ignore the noise and trust yourself. When you don't need validation, you stop caring about what people think. You start following your own path, not the path that others expect for you. Another thing to consider is that validation can often be tied to your comfort zone. People are more likely to validate what they're familiar with. If you step outside of what they know or expect from you, they might not understand. They might even discourage you. But if you let that discourage you, you'll miss out on the opportunities that are waiting for you outside of your comfort zone. Growth happens when you push beyond the limits of what's comfortable. And that kind of growth doesn't come with a stamp of approval from others. Number 7, trust the process, not the praise. When you're working toward your goals, there's something that happens that can really throw you off track if you're not careful. It's called praise. Now, don't get me wrong. Praise feels good. When someone acknowledges your hard work, it boosts your confidence and makes you feel like you're on the right path. But here's the thing, if you rely too much on praise, if you start chasing recognition instead of focusing on the process, you'll miss the real key to success. The real secret is trusting the process. It's about doing the work every single day, even when no one's watching. It's about staying committed, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Because here's the truth, success isn't something that comes overnight. It's not about the applause or the recognition that you get from others. It's about the steady, consistent work that you put in and day out. And that's what makes the difference. When you focus on praise, you start to expect it. You start doing things for the approval, for the good job, or that you're amazing from other people. And when that praise doesn't come, when people don't notice or acknowledge your efforts, it can discourage you. You start wondering if what you're doing matters, or if you're even on the right path. But here's the truth, you don't need praise to know that you're doing the right thing. You just need to trust the process. When you're trusting the process, you know that the work you're doing today is building the foundation for something bigger tomorrow. It might not look like much now, but the effort you're putting in is like planting seeds. You might not see the growth right away, but eventually that seed will grow into something powerful. The most successful people didn't get to where they are because they sought praise. They got there because they trusted the process. They stayed focused on the work, even when no one was watching, even when no one was giving them a pat on the back. You've got to remember, it's easy to get caught up in the idea of instant results. In today's world, everything happens fast. We can send a message and get a reply in seconds. We can order something online and have it delivered the next day. But success doesn't work that way. Real, lasting success takes time. It takes dedication. It takes getting up every day, doing the work, and trusting that the process will lead to something amazing. And yes, it might take longer than you'd like. Yes, there will be days when you feel like you're not making progress, or that no one notices the effort you're putting in. But you have to trust that it's all part of the process. If you spend all your time looking for praise, you're going to find yourself discouraged when you don't get it. You'll question your ability, and you'll start second-guessing yourself. You'll wonder if you're doing the right thing, and you'll lose your confidence. But if you focus on the process, if you commit to doing the work no matter what, you'll keep moving forward. The results will come, but only if you're consistent. It's easy to start strong, but it's the consistency that will carry you through. Trust the process, and the results will follow. Trusting the process also means being patient. This isn't a race. It's not about getting there the fastest. It's about staying steady and making progress every day. Think about the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the top performers in any field. They didn't get to where they are because they were looking for praise. They got there because they stayed focused on the work, because they kept showing up, even when things were tough, even when it felt like they weren't making progress. They trusted the process. They knew that every day of hard work was bringing them closer to their goal, even if it didn't feel like it. There's a lot of pressure in today's world to achieve things quickly and to get recognition as soon as possible. Social media, for example, is full of people sharing their successes and achievements. It's easy to look at other people's results and feel like you're falling behind. But let me tell you something, the comparison game is a dangerous one. When you compare your progress to someone else's, you forget that they've been on their journey for a lot longer than you've been on yours. You forget that their process was different. Instead of focusing on where other people are, focus on where you are and where you want to go. Trust that as long as you're working consistently, you're exactly where you need to be. You might not get a lot of praise in the beginning. That's okay. That's normal. If you're starting something new, you're probably not going to see huge results right away. But that doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're in the process. And the results will come if you stay committed. If you keep putting in the work, If you keep trusting that the process is going to get you where you need to go, you'll eventually start to see the fruits of your labor. And when those results come, they'll be even sweeter because you didn't rely on praise to get there. You trusted the process. Another thing about trusting the process is that it helps you stay resilient. There will be setbacks along the way. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be challenges, obstacles, and doubts. But when you trust the process, you know that these setbacks aren't the end of the road. They're just part of the journey. They're the lessons that you need to learn to get better, to grow, and to become more capable. Every failure, every mistake is just a stepping stone towards success. And if you keep going, if you keep trusting the process, you'll eventually reach your destination. So the next time you find yourself looking for praise, stop. Shift your focus back to the process. Trust the work. Trust the effort you're putting in. Know that success isn't about the applause you get from others, it's about the work you do when no one is watching. It's about the consistency, the dedication, and the belief that what you're doing today is setting you up for something even greater tomorrow. Trust the process, not the praise. The praise will come, but the process is what gets you there. Stay focused, stay dedicated, and keep moving forward. You've got this. Number 8. Work in silence, surprise with results. There's a certain power in working quietly, in staying focused on the task at hand, and letting your actions speak for themselves. In today's world, we're often surrounded by noise. Social media, conversations, distractions, they're all competing for our attention. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to constantly announce what we're doing, to share every little step of our journey with others. But here's the thing, the most powerful results often come when you're working in silence. When you choose to work in silence, you're allowing your efforts to do the talking. You don't need to shout about your plans or constantly seek validation from others. Instead, you focus on your craft, on honing your skills, and on taking consistent action day after day. You might not be making a lot of noise on the outside, but the progress you're making is undeniable. And when the time is right, the results will speak for themselves. Think about the most successful people in the world, whether they're athletes, entrepreneurs, or creators. They didn't get to where they are by constantly talking about their plans or seeking attention. They got there by putting in the work, by staying focused on their goals, and by letting their achievements do the talking for them. They worked in silence, and when the time came, their results shocked the world. Here's why this approach is so powerful. When you're working in silence, you're protecting your focus. You're not distracted by the opinions or expectations of others. You're not worried about what people think or whether they approve of your efforts. You're simply doing the work because you know it matters. The moment you start talking too much about what you're doing, you invite external noise into your process. You invite distractions, doubts, and unnecessary pressure. People start asking questions, offering advice, or even telling you what they think you should do. And suddenly your focus is no longer on your goal, it's on what others are saying or thinking. Working in silence helps you cut out that noise. You don't need to explain yourself or justify your actions to anyone. You just focus on what you need to do, one step at a time. This gives you the clarity and energy you need to move forward without being sidetracked by the opinions of others. It allows you to make steady progress without getting caught up in the chatter around you. But there's more to it than just protecting your focus. Working in silence also builds anticipation. When you're not constantly talking about your plans, people start to wonder what you're up to. They start to notice that you're consistently putting in the work, that you're quietly making progress, and they can't help but be curious about what's coming. And when you finally reveal your results, whether it's a new project, a successful business, or a personal achievement, it's like a surprise. It's not expected. It's the payoff for all the quiet work you've been doing behind the scenes. This creates a powerful impact. When people see the results, they can't help but be impressed. They weren't expecting it, and they certainly didn't see it coming. But that's the beauty of working in silence. It allows you to focus on the process without the pressure of constantly seeking approval or validation from others. And when your results speak for themselves, they make a far greater impact than anything you could have said or done beforehand. Another reason to work in silence is that it keeps you grounded. When you're constantly talking about your plans or seeking validation, it's easy to become attached to other people's opinions. You start to base your self-worth on the praise or criticism you receive from others. But when you choose to work quietly, you're not seeking that external validation. You're doing the work for yourself. You're focused on your goals. And you know that the only person you need to prove anything to is yourself. This mindset is liberating because it frees you from the pressure of needing other people's approval. Working in silence also helps you avoid unnecessary distractions. Think about how often we get distracted by conversations or social media posts. When you're constantly checking in with others or sharing your progress, you invite those distractions into your day. Every time you check your phone, every time you respond to a comment, you're taking your attention away from the work that matters. But when you work in silence, you're able to block out those distractions and stay completely focused on what's in front of you. The key to working in silence is consistency. It's not about doing a little bit of work and then telling everyone about it. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that the results will come. You don't need to announce every step of the journey. You don't need to share every small victory. Just keep putting in the effort and trust that your work will speak for itself in time. The more consistent you are, the more powerful your results will be. Now, don't confuse working in silence with being secretive. It's not about hiding your work or keeping everything to yourself. It's about focusing on what matters without the need for constant external validation. It's about creating something that speaks for itself, something that doesn't need to be explained or justified. You don't need to broadcast every move you make. You just need to do the work, and when the results come, they'll speak louder than words ever could. The beauty of this approach is that it allows you to stay in control of your journey. You're not swayed by other people's opinions. You're not distracted by the constant need for recognition. You're simply focused on what you can do today to move closer to your goals. And when you surprise people with your results, it's a reminder that real success comes from the quiet, consistent effort you put in, not from the noise you make along the way. So the next time you're tempted to share every little detail of your plans, ask yourself, is this helping me move forward? Or is it just adding noise? Remember, the most powerful work happens when no one is watching. It's in the quiet hours when no one knows what you're doing but you. It's in the consistent effort, the small steps, the day-to-day actions that will eventually lead to something incredible. Work in silence and surprise the world with the results. Let your actions do the talking. When the time is right, your work will speak for itself, and it will speak volumes. Number 9, less talking, more action. Let me tell you something that's simple but so important: less talking, more action. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But it's something that many people overlook, and it's the key to real success. We live in a world full of distractions, full of people who love to talk about their dreams, their goals, their plans. But at the end of the day, talking about something doesn't get you anywhere. It's the actions you take that count. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of talking. You talk about what you want to do, about how you're going to change your life, about what you'll accomplish. You may even share it with others, hoping for validation or praise. But let me tell you something, no one will ever care about your plans as much as you do. And if you're spending more time talking about your goals than working toward them, you're wasting valuable energy that could be spent on actually doing the work. You see, success doesn't come from talking, it comes from action. Action is what moves the needle. Action is what makes things happen. The world isn't waiting for you to explain yourself or talk about your ideas. It's waiting for you to do something with those ideas. The more time you spend talking, the less time you spend acting. And if you want to make progress, you have to put in the work. Think about it. When you talk about your goals, you're only creating a temporary sense of accomplishment. It feels good in the moment, right? You share your dreams with others, and for a little while you feel validated. You feel like you're moving forward. But the truth is, talking doesn't get you any closer to your destination. It's the action that you take every single day, even when no one is watching, that gets you results. Now, I'm not saying that talking is always bad. There are times when you need to share your vision with others, when you need support or feedback. But the point is, there's a fine line between talking and taking action. You can't spend all your time talking about what you're going to do and then expect things to change. You have to back up those words with meaningful action. You have to show up every single day, put in the work, and keep moving forward. Here's the thing: when you're taking action, you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You don't have to constantly justify your decisions or tell people what you're doing. You just do it. And when people see the results of your actions, they'll understand. They'll see that you've been putting in the work. They'll see that you're serious about your goals. And that's when the respect and recognition come, not from talking about what you want to do, but from actually doing it. There's a saying that goes, talk is cheap, and it's true. Words are easy. Everyone can talk. But not everyone is willing to put in the hard work, the effort, and the time it takes to make things happen. The people who succeed are the ones who are willing to do what others aren't. They're the ones who get up early, stay late, and keep pushing forward. Even when things aren't easy, they're the ones who let their actions speak for them. So let's get real for a moment. If you're spending more time talking about your dreams than working toward them, you're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to achieve your goals by talking about them. You're going to achieve them by doing the work, by taking consistent action, by showing up day after day and giving it your best shot. If you truly want to change your life, if you truly want to achieve something meaningful, then you have to stop talking and start doing. Take that idea that's been in your head for months or even years and start taking small steps toward it, to make a plan, and then take action on that plan. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for everything to line up just right. The time to act is now. When you take action, you create momentum. And that momentum is what carries you forward. Even when things get tough, you start to build confidence because you see the results of your efforts. You start to believe in yourself because you're no longer just talking about your dreams, you're living them. And that's a powerful feeling. So how do you stop talking and start doing? It's all about making a commitment to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and ask, am I doing everything I can to make my dreams a reality? If the answer is no, then it's time to take action. Start small. Don't try to do everything at once. Take one step at a time and keep moving forward. Focus on progress, not perfection. Action is what creates results, not waiting for the perfect moment. And guess what? There is no perfect moment. There's only the moment you have right now. So stop waiting, stop talking, and start acting. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see the change you're looking for. And remember, actions speak louder than words. When you're taking action, you're showing the world what you're made of. You don't need to convince anyone of your abilities. Your actions will prove to everyone that you're serious about your goals. So stop talking, start doing, and let your actions tell the story. If you keep talking but never do the work, you'll never get anywhere. But if you take consistent, meaningful action every day, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Don't let fear or self-doubt hold you back. Don't let the opinions of others stop you. Just keep taking action and watch how your life begins to change. In the end, it's not about how much you talk, it's about how much you do. And if you want to see real results, you've got to stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. So get out there, take action, and make it happen. Your future is waiting for you, and it's ready for the taking. Number 10, Be proud of what you do, not what you say. There's a saying that goes, talk is cheap. It's easy to talk about what we want to do, what we plan to do, or what we think we're going to do. But here's the thing, your actions, the work you put in, are what truly matter. When you focus on doing the work and making progress, you don't need to talk about it all the time. You don't need to tell the world how great your plans are. What you do, how you show up every day, and what you accomplish will speak for itself. It's easy to get caught up in talking about your goals and dreams, right? We all do it at some point. We get excited about something and we want to share it with others. We want validation, we want support. We want people to believe in what we're doing. And there's nothing wrong with sharing your vision with others. But there's a big difference between sharing your dreams and actually doing the work to make them happen. Let's be real for a second. Everyone can talk. Everyone can make big plans, tell stories, and share ideas, but not everyone is willing to put in the work to make those plans a reality. It's the people who show up every day, who do the hard work even when no one's watching, who make a difference. It's the ones who let their actions do the talking, not their words. You don't need to spend your time explaining what you're going to do. You don't need to try and convince people that your plan is the right one. Instead, focus on doing the work. Work hard. Make progress. And when the results start showing, people will notice. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. The proof will be in the outcomes. When you're proud of what you do, you don't need to talk about it constantly. Your work speaks for itself. People can see it in the results. They can see it in the way you show up, in the way you handle challenges, and in the way you keep pushing forward. They'll recognize the dedication, the effort, and the commitment that you put into your goals. And that's where the real pride comes from, not from talking about your ambitions, but from following through on them. It's easy to fall into the trap of needing validation from others. We all want to be acknowledged, recognized, and praised. But here's the truth, you don't need anyone's approval to succeed. The only person you need to impress is yourself. When you look at your progress, when you see how far you've come, that's where your true pride should come from. You did it. You made it happen. And that's worth celebrating. Here's the thing, you can't control what other people think or say about you. People will have their opinions, and some of them might even try to discourage you. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're focused on your goals and the work that it takes to get there. The pride you feel in your achievements comes from knowing that you did it with your own effort, your own determination, and your own actions. Being proud of what you do means letting go of the need for constant praise or recognition. It means trusting that if you keep doing the work, the results will speak for themselves. You'll know that you're on the right track because you're making progress every day. And eventually others will see it too. They'll notice your success, and they'll admire the fact that you didn't waste time talking about it, you just went out and did it. Here's something to think about every time you talk about what you're going to do. You're taking time away from actually doing it. Words are easy. Action is hard. But action is what counts. So focus on the work. Do what you say you're going to do. And when you start seeing results, that's when the pride will come. And it won't be because you've been talking about it, but because you've been doing it. At the end of the day, the real satisfaction comes from knowing that you've put in the work. The pride doesn't come from telling others how great your plans are. It comes from seeing your plans come to life. It comes from knowing that you've made progress, that you've overcome obstacles, and that you're getting closer to your goals every day. Remember, the people who talk the most are often the ones who don't do the most. It's easy to tell people about your dreams, but it's the ones who stay focused, who keep working, even when no one's watching, who make a real difference. Don't get caught up in the need for validation. Do the work. Let your actions speak louder than your words. And when the results start to show, you'll feel a pride that no one can take away from you. So stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop trying to explain yourself to others. Let your actions do the talking. Work hard, Stay focused and trust the process. And when the results come, you won't need to say a word. Your success will speak for itself, and you'll be proud of what you've accomplished. That's the kind of pride that lasts, a pride that comes from doing, not from talking. Keep moving forward and keep making it happen. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, but every small step you take adds up. The most important thing is to start where you are, use what you've learned, and keep going. Which rule spoke to you the most? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need a little extra motivation today. Here's to making 2025 your best year yet. Go out there and make it happen.